What's going on, Jerome's NFL Combine is upon us, and so is mock draft season. Our guy, Thor Nystrom, NBC Sports Edge, put out his 3-round mock draft 2.0, and the Vikings get some nice at some key positions of need. Now, we're team BPA, but sometimes, some ways, the position of need just syncs up with the best player available at that point. So we'll walk through the first round as well as where the Vikings go with their 3 day 1, day 2 selections. So up at the top. Also, we've said this before. I love Thor, and I love draft people that are unafraid to break away from groupthink, right? Because that's very pervasive nowadays. Well, beyond draft analysis into a lot of things, right? But someone who does a lot of the work themselves and just really, does the work themselves, does a ton of the work, and then just, hey, this is what I think, this is what I see. And Thor is a college football expert and savant, so he knows every single one of these players in depth, and I respect his opinion a lot. So let's get this thing going. Jacksonville, Evan Neal protecting Trevor Lawrence, paramount. Yes. Number 2, spicy already. Detroit passes up Aiden Hutchinson, who seems like a sure thing on the edge, but Malik Willis. Now, are you going to start Willis right away? Maybe you roll with Jared Goff for a year, and Willis, I think, he probably has the highest ceiling of all the quarterbacks in this draft. Actually, not even probably. He does have the highest ceiling of all the quarterbacks in this draft, but 2 is spicy. But if the Lions know that he's the guy that they want in this draft, he's not going to be there at 32, so they just stick and pick, get their guy, go ahead. 3, Houston. Yeah, speaking of BPA, of course they could use some help on the edge, but Hutchinson just sort of fell into their laps. They're like, okay. 4, Jets. Speaking of BPA, Kyle Hamilton is, it's going to be close, but Kyle Hamilton, Sticky Icky Ekwonu are going to be the best player available at this point, and Rob Salah gets the absolute thunderbolt in the middle of their secondary there. So Kyle Hamilton going to the Jets. Giants, got to fix the offensive line, man. Icky Ekwonu, put him at right tackle, put him at left tackle. Don't really care. Pair him up with Andrew Thomas. Yes. 6, even though the Giants are not going to pick up Daniel Jones' 5th-year option. It sounds like, spicy. 6, Carolina, where maybe they would have taken Malik Willis if he was there at 6. They definitely need a quarterback, but going with Sauce Gardner, the first cornerback off the board here, pairing him up with J.C. Horn, love that. 7, Giants with their second of 2 picks, so they're building on both trenches. Joe Shane is really getting after there. Kayvon Thibodeau, where they probably would have taken him at 5, but the fact that they're getting him at 7 is just fantastic as well. 8, Atlanta. So Atlanta could go a bunch of different directions here. They could go quarterback, the heir for Matt Ryan. They could go edge rusher. They could go cornerback opposite A.J. Terrell. But they go with David Ojabo, who is a project, yes, but he, 3-4 years from now, could you say that he's a top 2 edge rusher in this class? I think that wouldn't be out of the realm of possibility, where he is raw, but he's got the physical tools to really go get after it. 9, Denver. If they don't, there's no trades in this one. So say they don't trade for Russell Wilson or Aaron Rodgers. Kenny Pickett, Denver, Nathaniel Hackett. And with the Broncos offensive line and weapons that they have, that's a nice landing spot for Pickett, even though he's in a bad division. Horrible. 10, the Jets with their second of 2 first-round picks. Treylon Burks, coming out of Arkansas, man. Guy that I love. A.J. Brown clone. Treylon with Elijah Moore. Just getting it, man. Just go, man. Corey Davis in there as well. Yes. 11, Washington. So they get their signal caller, Matt Corral, coming out of Ole Miss. Now, Corral's not going to work out at the Combine. He's going to work out his pro day, still nursing the ankle injury from the bowl game. But I think that Matt Corral's moxie is a plus for Washington, but they do have to cater their offense to Matt Corral. I think a lot of RPOs make a lot of sense, and hopefully Scotty doesn't just jam him into just the crappy offense that they've been running. 12, Vikings. So a lot of options here. So you do have Stingley there. You do have McDuffie there. Only 1 cornerback is gone. A couple of great edges are there. Only 1 wide receiver is off the board. A couple of quarterbacks are still there that strike your fancy. Tyler Linderbaum, the best center prospect in probably a decade in the draft, is still on board. But George Karlaftis, the Greek freak. Now, I feel like consensus-wise, Karlaftis has been really getting cooled off on. Like he's not as high in some of these mocks or some of the big boards that you would expect. I mean, for some people, he's even dropping out of the first round, but I think that's crazy. Karlaftis is a day 1 starter, just a day 1 rock. I think that the sort of power defensive end, sort of the Everson Griffin comparisons are apt, and I think that he's a guy that day 1 can start. Either maybe you stand him up. or you definitely have him as a hand-the-dirt guy with your four-man fronts, odd fronts, so you can play that 5-tech spot with a plum. I mean, if you have a guy that's a cross between Everson Griffin and Cameron Hayward, whew, that's a hell of a player, man, getting after it. Also, his relationship with Ryan Kerrigan, goes way back. Kerrigan, former Purdue legend, he's been sort of a mentor for Karlaftis. And, of course, Greg Minuski, the new Vikings inside linebacker coach, was the defense coordinator for Ryan Kerrigan back in the day. Also, Kevin O'Connell in Washington, same time as Kerrigan. So maybe they see Karlaftis as that guy where he can be a stand-up, he can be a hand-the-dirt, he can be everything. Everything. And plus, if they keep Danielle Hunter, whew, baby. 13 Cleveland, keeping Olave in state makes sense. Linderbaum, Baltimore. Now, we've seen this pick twice. PFF Steve, I think, was the other one. It's not a one-for-one stylistically because Baltimore is a lot more power and gap, and Linderbaum is more of an outside zone guy. But I mean, it is what it is. Maybe they're going to change things up front with the Ravens, and Linderbaum, like we said, is the best center prospect in a decade. And then the Eagles 3 picks: Devin Lloyd, I hate it. Stingley, I hate it. Jermaine Johnson. So they're completely flipping the script on that defense, man. That's I've not seen a bad run out in terms of the Eagles' 3 first-round picks because they're hitting the apex of the meat of this draft. And we've said picks 15 to 60. I mean, basically put all those names together and just like shake it up because teams will see these guys different, but it's kind of flat in terms of that talent spectrum there. There's going to be a lot of really good players going in the top end of the second round, man. Then also Chargers, Charles Cross, yes. McDuffie, Saints. Yeah, that makes sense. New Orleans secondary needs some new blood, and also, I mean, the top three quarterbacks are off the board. So yeah, Steelers pretty much same problem as the Saints. Top quarterbacks are off the board, but the offensive line needs a lot of help. Kenyon Green, top guard in this class, coming out. Yes. And then 2 Georgia guys go back to back. New England going Trevon Walker. That's just unfortunate. I mean, New England just gets consistently great talent. Trevon Walker can play a lot of different positions for the Patriots on defense. Vegas getting Jordan Davis, need a man in the middle. Now, you could say that they need wide receiver and cornerback as well, but then get that later on. Arizona, 23, Kyler Gordon. Yeah, they need some freshening in that secondary. So the other great Washington cornerback is off the board. 2 go, top 23. Crazy. Dallas. So you could go offensive line. Yes, you could get some more playmakers on the outside or in the secondary, but Devontae Wyatt, a guy that really stepped up in the playoff. And they're different players, but I could see Devontae Wyatt going ahead of Jordan Davis. I could, just because Wyatt can stay on the field for all 3 downs and brings a lot to the table. But he goes to Dallas. Buffalo, Drake London. Woo! They're building a basketball team, man. So you got 6'5" Drake London. You got, 6'4"-ish Gabe Davis on the outside, around the outside. They got Diggs in the middle working things. I love it, man. Even though, I mean, their offensive line could use a little bit of freshening too. I mean, Zion Johnson make a lot of sense here as well, but it is what it is. Tennessee, Nakobe Dean. We went over that. It's a perfect pick. Tampa Bay. So Penning, with the retirement of Ali Marpet, Penning makes a lot of sense. Could come in and play some guard. Eventually, he could replace Donovan Smith at left tackle, and then Penning, and then Tristan Wirfs long term. Sure. Green Bay, they're bracing for the loss of Devontae Adams. Breathe it in. G-Dub from Ohio State makes sense there. Zion Johnson, Miami's just been pouring resources into the offensive line. Why not another one? ZJ can play. Frankly, he can play all 5 spots. I think that he's got great talent, and he's going to do good things in South Beach. Carl Lamb, Kansas City, they're going to lose a Ward in free agency. Also, they're going to lose Honey Badger, so it's a drain on that secondary. Getting a lineman there makes sense. Cincinnati, Bernard Raymond, who, I mean, he's going to blow up the combine. I mean, he may run like a 4.8 40, which is just insane. So his stock took a little bit of a hit at the Senior Bowl. I think that it'll rise back up this week at the Combine. And then you got Jamison Williams. See, this is what you can do when you have 2 first-round picks. The Lions, they got their quarterback of the future. Now they got their wide receiver. Well, I mean, Amon-Ra St. Brown's pretty damn good. So they got their wide receiver 1B of the future, Jamison Williams, and they could wait for him because they're not going to be good this year. They could be good next year and beyond. I love that, man. Top of the second round, Mafe goes to Jacksonville. So Mafe and Josh Allen just getting it, man. Jan Dotson goes to Giants. Falele goes to Jets. That makes a ton of sense. So the Jets get Kyle Hamilton, BPA, Treylon Burks on the outside. And then you got Falele. You can put at right tackle, just mammoth man size opposite of Mekhi Becton. I love that. David Bell, Chicago. I mean, they're probably going to lose Allen Robinson, so Bell and Mooney, that's a really nice combo there. Pickens goes to Washington, yes. Breece Hall to the Falcons, I love it. Then the Vikings, Sam Howell goes second round to the Saints. So, I mean, the Saints probably would have taken Sam Howell at 18, but McDuffie was there. That's just too much value, so I understand it there. And then Desmond Ridder goes to the Steelers. So, yeah, similar issue where they probably would have taken these guys in the first round, but too much value, and then they were able to snag them, luckily, at the back end of the second round. Vikings going Christian Watson in the second round. The pride of NDSU. Now, problem is NDSU, it's a very college system, so the route tree for the receivers is pretty rudimentary, but he showed a lot at the Senior Bowl. And also, I mean, initially, given his size, 6'5", 200 and change, a lot of people thought that he was just going to be a power forward jump ball specialist, but he showed a lot of wiggle down at the Senior Bowl. So I think that he could be a dude who attacks at all three levels. He's got great hands, obviously a little bit raw, but he is a fascinating project, man. And the Vikings, Thielen starting to age out a little bit. Jefferson is the best wide receiver in the game. KJ, I think, is a solid Batman to Jefferson's Robin. And Watson could be the X factor here, man. No matter what happens at quarterback, maybe the Vikings circle around. Maybe Kellen Mond is the future. Who really knows? But Watson, I mean, they're just scratching the surface on Christian Watson, and he could be just that dude. So I understand second round, a little bit high, especially when there's some other great wide receivers on the board. I mean, Mechie's still there. Pickens just went. Bell just went. So you're in that second wave of wide receivers. He's going ahead of Wandale, which is surprising, but you're betting on potential, size, speed, and also he's gonna destroy the combine too. So I think that, 46, even though, a lot of places you're probably seeing Watson as a late day 2, early day 3 pick. I understand it, and I'm down for it, man. Let's go. Nick Bonito goes to the Bills, second round. I was really hoping he would slide to the third, but is what it is. Wan'Dale Robinson to the Chiefs. That's gross, man. Kobe staying in Cincy. Yeah, they need to upgrade from Eli Apple, that's for sure. And also, for me, Kobe is really underrated in terms of a cornerback, because every single game, quarterbacks who are playing the Bearcats are going away from Sauce Gardner, and they're going at Kobe Bryant. And Kobe did fantastic work. So I think he's super underrated. I think he's a great talent, man. Into the third round, so Chad Muma going to Washington, Tyler Smith going to Seattle. I was kind of hoping that Tyler Smith would make it to the Vikings third round pick, but it is what it is. See Damon Clark as well, Goodrich. No. So the Vikings in the third round. Jeremy Celer from the national champion Georgia Bulldogs. He's a guard, although he does have some tackle flexibility as well. Now, he had an injury his last year in Athens. Kind of surprising that he declared, but I think him in the third round does make sense. But he's not a one-for-one scheme fit, which I always say take with a grain of salt, because, of course, good offensive linemen are good offensive linemen. And even though Celer doesn't have the movement skills of, say, an Ezra or a Bradbury, he also has a fantastic anchor, which is great. And I think that Celer could place his ass at guard. Y. Davis, who they experiment with at center, I would try him at center again. I would. I would try Davis at center before I would put Celer, but I think that at this stage of the draft, I think that it is a solid get. Although, there's some really good players here, like Drake Jackson on the edge, even though you check that box with the Greek Freak early on. Tariq Woolen, who could be the darling of the combine this week. UTSA Roadrunners, great cornerback. Also, he's like 7 feet tall. I'm just kidding. He's like 6'4", but he gets after it, man. Where Carson Strong is there in the third round. Dylan Parham. All right, so it's a toss-up. Like, if they went Parham from Memphis in terms of guards versus Jeremy Celer, I would understand that. But, man. But Jai Sanders is there. Ed Ingram, if we're talking about offensive line, too. Man, this is so much fun. Thayer Mumford is there. Munford and Sons. Yeah. Sky Moore. So many damn good players that are going to go day 2 and early day 3, which I love. And also, I love when they do this. Guys are still on board. Zap, we get in day 3, which is super interesting. James Cook, Dalvin's brother, is still there. Kyle Phillips, man. Haskell Garrett is still there. D'Angelo Malone, Demo. Come on. Who doesn't love the draft? I love it, man. But, like I said, drafts are a little bit early since we're looking at things that before free agency, before the trades and whatnot. But if you're telling me right now, you could sign up for the Greek Freak, you could sign up for Christian Watson in the second round, and you could sign up for Jeremy Celer in the third, I'd be okay with that. I would, because you can't always get what you want, but sometimes you just might find you get what you need. But your thoughts are our thoughts. Take a look at Thor Nystrom's mock draft, 3-round mock draft 2.0. Vikings get some nice. Let us know your thoughts on our thoughts and on his thoughts in the comment section below. Subscribe for daily Vikings takes. Want to support the work? Put a little something in the Venmo. But until next time, Skol, production value.